Hello, friend. So imagine you're at a furniture store. You're looking for living room furniture, and there's so many choices. Well, I'm going to invite you to not overthink, to feel. And why am I saying this on an astrology channel? Well, I want to talk about the upcoming Mercury shadow retrograde period. We're going to have another Mercury retrograde beginning officially June 29th. But right now, the pre-shadow period is going to begin June 12th. So just a couple days before the Gemini new moon. I already put up another video about that. So definitely check that video out. And before I get into all of it, just want to introduce myself. Again, I am Darice of Moon Life Illuminated. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back. I always appreciate everyone who comes back. And as I talk about this, I want you to reflect on, like I said, that experience of being in the furniture store. I'm thinking about this because I had a dream where I was in a furniture store, and it was a little weird because I was going up the escalator in the dream, and at the top of the escalator, there was a couch, and I had to climb over the couch, but I couldn't actually climb over the couch. So I had to actually push the couch out of the way. And I did that, and I don't know why or what this dream means. I mean, I have some ideas just based on other stuff that happened in it, but it's way too long and totally not related to anything astrological. So I'm not going to get into all the details there. But it did have me thinking about that experience of being in a furniture store. You see all these options, and it's so easy to get overwhelmed and to overthink it. And you're trying to picture what's going to match that. Is that going to match that? And is this the vibe I want for that room? What colors are really going to work for me? What colors do I want to look at? What kind of fabric do I want? What do I want the couch to feel like? What kind of coffee table do I want in front of it? And like, it can be so overwhelming and you just freeze. You're like, I can't make a decision at all. And I'll also say that to say that maybe that's how Mercury and Cancer can feel. Because, Mercury is about the details and it likes a lot of information and things come at it pretty fast. But Cancer is about, well, I need to feel, I need to go internal. So I always wonder what that is like if you have this natal placement, Mercury in Cancer. Like, what is the experience? I mean, I would imagine it feels like constantly trying to sort through a lot of details that just don't make any sense. And there's a feeling of not having your center, or the only way to feel centered before making a decision is to sit, be still, and feel from the heart. So if you do have Mercury in Cancer, let me know if that's the experience or what it actually is like. I'm just curious. Um, but I'm saying all of that to say that I feel like this is the vibe for Mercury in Cancer. And it's going to be in Cancer until August 9th, which is a really long time for Mercury to be in a sign. All of the 2026 Mercury retrogrades are in water signs. At the beginning of the year, it was in Pisces, and whew, that was a rough one. That was a very rough transit. So hopefully, Mercury in Cancer won't be as difficult or as intense. I'm a little nervous about Mercury being in Scorpio at the end of the year because that's going to be from August through December, so the holiday time. So just a heads up if you're planning travel and family stuff, just know that Mercury and Scorpio, it can be intense and a lot of stuff can come up. So, if there are certain family members you have challenges with, I don't know if you want to spend a lot of time, the holiday time, like those Jewish holidays and Thanksgiving. Like, if you got to plan those events now, you might want to make them shorter trips. Just saying, just an idea. But that's not what I want to talk about today. Right now, we are in Mercury and Cancer. So, out of all three retrogrades, I feel like Mercury and Cancer is going to be the softest, the fuzziest, the warmest. And I like that it's happening while we have Chiron moving into Taurus. That's going to be happening, I believe, June 19th. I'm going to have a separate video on that. And we're also going to be having Jupiter move into Leo. And I believe that's June 29th off the top of my head. I didn't put the dates in front of me. I should have. I'm looking at my notes and I should have put those in my notes, but I didn't. There you go. But the main thing is we have Mercury in Cancer. And I feel like because we're going to be going through a retrograde with Mercury in Cancer, it's going to invite us to do more internal reflection, be more in touch with our feelings, be more in tune with our heart. And I think that's beautiful as we reflect on these two major changes coming up, Jupiter moving into Leo and Chiron into Taurus. Because so that basically it's happening right around the time we have these two transitions. We have two big phases, or maybe two big periods of our lives coming to a close, or maybe you've recently launched something new and you're beginning to implement that, build a foundation for that. So you're going to have that Mercury and Cancer energy to help you with that, to help you navigate your feelings around these changes or a new way of life that you may be embracing right now. And it's encouraging you to stay connected to your heart. That even if you've done a lot of analyzing or thinking about how you wanted to have this new project or this new business or a new way forward unfold for you, to still remember to come back to the heart. So that's really what I wanted to come in and share with you today. I want us to really give ourselves permission to slow down and reflect on what's happening internally. Where are we with ourselves? Where are we in our relationships? Where are we in what we're building in our lives? And this Mercury shadow period, because that happens about 2 weeks before Mercury actually does station retrograde. And so it's nice to just observe and be aware of what comes up, especially around the Mercury themes of communication, your everyday habits, maybe your relationships with your siblings in particular. Because the conversations or the events that happen at that time, that can show you what you're going to be working with, what you're going to be going back to during the actual Mercury retrograde. So that's something to just consider or be aware of. A good example maybe, well, maybe you're planning to start a new job, and you've already gotten hired for the job, and you're actually going to be starting it like maybe at the beginning of that Mercury retrograde. So leading up to it, you may be looking at the things that you had to close out from you leaving your current job. Maybe the Mercury shadow period is going to be during the 2 weeks where you're giving 2 weeks notice at this job that you're leaving to go to a new job. So the conversations that you're closing out, that you're having at the job that you're leaving, and how that's impacting your family life, your day-to-day routine, maybe it's changing your commute. Maybe you're no longer going to be commuting to an office and you're going to be working from home. So you're going to be setting up your home office and figuring out how that works. That could be a small example of how this plays out. And then when you start the new job, there will probably still be some lingering things that you have to review. Like if it is a job in a new commute, or you are transitioning from going to a physical office and working from home. During the Mercury retrograde, you're going to be continuing to set up that home office. You're going to be figuring out, how does it work working from home? How am I going to do my morning routine? How am I going to structure my morning? Am I going to want to stay in my pajamas for half of the day since I am working from home and I no longer have to wear the suit? And, a lot of people, when they first made that transition during COVID, the first 2 weeks, maybe the first month, people just stayed in their pajamas and their sweatpants. And the only time they put on a nice shirt was when they had a Zoom meeting. But then people realized that they didn't really feel good doing that. It made it really hard emotionally to be working from home. So then people figured out, well, I actually feel better when I take the time to get out of my pajamas, to take a shower, put on a nice top, even if I'm not wearing a suit, at least wearing a nice shirt and nice comfortable sweatpants, nice joggers. Makes me feel like I'm more awake, I'm more present. These are the kind of things that I'm talking about. That's one practical way that the Mercury shadow period can then play out in the actual Mercury retrograde. But my point is that if you are going through something like that kind of transition, check in with yourself and how you're actually feeling. How are you feeling during the day when you're working from home? Does this new job feel like it's in alignment with your heart? How do you feel emotionally? Are you at peace? Are you excited? Is this job really what you thought you wanted it to be? This could be a good use of that energy with Mercury in Cancer. You're going to be supported and not necessarily having to have all the answers right away, but at least it'll be more, what's the word I want to use? It'll be clearer to you when you sit down emotionally and figure it out. From what I understand, having Mercury in Cancer can make it difficult to communicate your message or your words. I think Mercury in any water sign makes it more challenging, especially because Mercury is so fast moving and it has so many details. But our feelings don't work fast. And I think that's the challenge with Mercury in any water sign, is that it's a challenge about learning to pull back and slow down, to breathe and be in the moment, to be present. And when you have Mercury in Cancer, this transit is inviting us to really come from the heart before we communicate, especially when it's with other people, not only with ourselves, but especially with people that we work with, friends, loved ones, romantic partners, etc. And because of the retrograde, it's going to be in Cancer until August 9th. So we're going to have a lot of time to really kind of hone in and figure out. I think the summer, a lot of epiphanies are going to come to people, that source, the divine, higher power, however you like to refer to it, is going to be giving all of us more opportunities to really connect with and feel what's working and what's not working. That this is one of those transits that's going to be highlighting and intensifying that clarification process for all of us. And I think it'll be easier on you if you take the time to simply just be with yourself, even if it's just meditating quietly for 5 to 10 minutes every day, whether that means sitting in silence or taking a walk, where on your walk, you don't listen to anything. You're not listening to a podcast, you're not listening to anything on YouTube. You're just actually listening to your own thoughts as you walk. Take the time to really just be with yourself, to breathe and feel what's happening. This transit is going to support you in that process and bring insights to the surface. And that's basically what I had for you all today. I do want to remind you that I do have my Skool community. I'm also now on Substack. I do one-to-one sessions for people. I have a 30-minute witnessing you. That's only $30. I have a longer You Illuminated session. There'll be a link down below for that as well. And I also now have a VIP day experience for people. So if you want to find out more about that, feel free to email me. My email will be in the description box below. In the meantime, continue to take care of yourself, honor yourself, and always honor the light within you.